First and foremost, thank you all for coming today. My name is Kelvin Lewis. We're going to go over the topic of licensed embalmer and funeral director. It is a career that I chose to go into in 2000. It's more of a calling than a career. Either you're cut out for it or you're not cut out for it. You can't make someone become a funeral director or an embalmer if they don't want to. It's one of those jobs that is, again, more of a calling than a job, and either it's for you or it's not for you. Oftentimes people ask me, how did I get into the career? And it's one of those things that's long hours, it's a lot of stress, people at the worst times of their life that you're dealing with, but in the end, it's helping people through some of the toughest times of their life. People would ask me, how did you get into it, and so forth. Well, as a small boy, I guess I was always fascinated by the cars, how they would handle the body, the casket, the procession of people, how the funeral home would take care of the families. Becoming an embalmer and funeral director is in high demand. According to Labor Bureau statistics in April 12, 2019, there is a high demand for funeral directors and embalmers. You have to be supervised trained, at least 21 years old, to go into the profession. The hourly wage is approximately $27.68 an hour. The annual salary for an embalmer and funeral director is $57,800. The main duties is helping families, going out, doing the removal of a loved one, bringing them back to the funeral home, putting them in your care and taking care of them, meeting with the families the next day, and just seeing that everything's taken care of, from the first call to it's finalized. And there's a lot of steps in between from the first step to the end step. There's a lot of people, the statistics have changed a lot from traditional burials to cremation. Cremation is probably up now, probably to about 60% versus burials. There's a lot of pros and cons on the ground burials versus cremations. A lot of people in the South is still preferring burials versus a lot of people from up north are used and more familiar with cremation. And it's also, I think, an economy thing now. With the economy being where it is, a lot of people cannot afford a traditional funeral anymore. That's way over $8,000, where you can find a cremation for about $595. So a lot of people are forced to go into a cremation versus a traditional funeral, but they don't have the funding to be able to do the traditional funeral. So at this time, I'd like to ask you guys to ask me some questions that you may have.
What was the one thing that surprised you the most once you started your formal education about the funeral industry or the death care industry?
Well, there was a lot of studies that plays a part into that you would not think that would play into a part of going into the death care industry, as far as having to take a lot of math classes, different classes that you'd have to take to become a licensed funeral director and embalmer.
In this industry, you see the change from the traditional burial in the ground to the cremation. When you have a service being held here, do you see a different type of reaction from people that are not accustomed to the cremation?
Not a lot. Some people will question you a lot of times if it's going to be, if you say you're having a service, maybe with the body present. A lot of people ask is there going to be a burial afterwards, or if it's just going to be a cremation. So some people will ask you directly if it's going to be a cremation versus a burial, because when there's a visitation with the body present, if it doesn't specifically say that it's going to be a cremation, some will ask. But people seems to have adjusted a lot from 2000 to now. A lot of people seems to accept cremation more now than they ever have.
Mr. Lewis, I have a question that is for you more personally. Now that you've pursued your dream and you are now a licensed embalmer and funeral director and owner-operator of your own facility and have experienced many different phases of this industry, what do you find most gratifying for you personally in this industry? What does it give back to you that keeps you serving the people of your community?
Well, to answer your question, I am a licensed funeral director, and I am working to become a licensed funeral director, embalmer. I am not an embalmer at the present time, but I'm working on my classes now to become an embalmer. There's a lot of gratitude that people give back, and it's a very stressful job. The job's with you 24/7, but it's always an honor to serve families and for people to come back and thank you afterwards. So it's, again, it goes back to more of a calling than a job or a career. It goes into either it's for you or it's not for you, the funeral industry. And there's times that you're dealing with 2 or 3 families in one day, and it can get very stressful, but at the end, it's rewarding to know that you're helping people through some of the toughest times of their lives.